Derpycon 2015, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Derpycon was a multi-genre convention held from December 4th through 6th, 2015 at the Hyatt Morristown at Headquarters Plaza in Morristown, New Jersey. I have a conflict of interest notification. A group I'm part of had guest status / featured panelist status and got to wear these awesome badges all weekend. For the good, opening ceremonies was entertaining. Derpycon does a good job with opening ceremonies. The hotel lobby staff were helpful and answered several of our questions and were very professional. I like that you saw the hotel security around this weekend, especially in the lobby. Now, the convention did have their own security, but you did see a lot of the hotel security. The food options. Now, last year, when I made this video, I went right instead of left, and I never really found too many of the good food options, which caused the con chair to bust on me when he would see me. Thanks, Anthony. Now, this year, I found all the food options, and there was a lot of good places. The Committed Pig was good, and Nagano was also good for sushi, and I generally ate a lot of good food this weekend. The online schedule, people were having trouble with it on their phones, but I didn't. I used a different browser. I used Dolphin instead of the default Chrome that comes on most Android phones, so it worked fine for me. It was a little unwieldy, but for the most part, the online schedule was updated and did its job. I liked that the game room had arcade cabinets. A lot of game rooms at conventions do not have cabinets, and while most of the games in there were Japanese, I really did enjoy seeing these cabinets. The table flip game looks super interesting. The convention had some unique guests. Carl Stryken, who's played several roles, including in the Addams Family and Star Trek The Next Generation, was there. I did feel a little bit bad for him. Some of his panels were underattended, but he was a nice and very personable guest. Voltaire, first time I've heard him sing, he can actually really sing. It was pretty impressive, his concert. I liked the efficient masquerade. Now, it did start a half hour late, but only went 45 minutes because they were very efficient. They got stuff done, they kept people entertained, and got everybody out in a reasonable amount of time. So, especially good job on that. For the bad, what was downright bad? There's nothing. This is the second convention I've run into in a short amount of time that has nothing really downright bad about it, which is good. For the ugly, what should have been better? I didn't hear of a single noise complaint from my group of friends last year. This year it was a serious issue. I was in a room that got a noise complaint, and people were mostly just talking and having fun, and it seemed like at 10 p.m., you better not even be having conversation in your room, because you were going to get a noise complaint on at least one floor in the building. So it seemed like the thin walls, or I don't know if the neighbors were issues, but it did ruin some fun of the convention because you really couldn't hang out with people on certain floors. The dealers and artist alley setup was tight. It was a little hard to move around. It was a little hard to get around. I think the setup could have been a little bit better there. And I'm going to criticize closing ceremonies, not because of the content that was there, but I think it should have been an hour earlier. And they should have cleared out the workshop beforehand, or maybe next year not have a workshop beforehand. Have the room set up, everybody can get in there, get feedback, and pretty much leave. And I would like to see a tighter closing ceremonies next year. Overall, Derpycon was a respectable second-year convention that was easygoing. I had a good time, got my panels done, relatively low stress, and the staff were good. The crowd was an interesting mix. I would say the 18 to 24 demographic largely did not show up. Maybe their stats will say different, but it seemed that the con crowd trended younger or older. The attendance was really good for a second-year convention, 1,218 warm bodies. That's pretty solid. There's some conventions that they're approaching that have been around much longer attendance-wise. And next year, they've already announced their dates. It's going to be November 18th through 20th, 2016. Week before Thanksgiving, and I think the dates might benefit the convention. My final grade, I'm going to give the convention a B. It didn't change from last year. I think Derpycon is a solid, smaller convention experience. That's really good. And finally, we'll end on #DammItJeff, stop breaking the convention. Thanks for watching.